Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Hey yo, hey yo, hey yo. Listen, the album that we are talking about today is titled Armond and Doc, and it is by Armond Wake Up and Doc Beats. Now, if you don't know about these two guys, they have a podcast together called Clock Radio Speakers. It's a pretty dope podcast. They talk a lot of different things, mainly hip hop culture. They review albums on the podcast. But they also talk about sports. Sometimes they talk about WWE. Sometimes they talk about business and streaming services and like streaming like video services, so like Disney Plus and things like that, and the industry. They talk about a lot of different things, but mainly it's hip hop. These dudes have been doing that podcast for years together. I think it's like 6 or 7 years, if not more. It's been a while. I only maybe in the last year or more started listening to their podcast. Even then, I'm not listening all the time, but I've heard a lot of episodes. They clearly have a chemistry together on the podcast. If I'm right, this is the first album they've done together. I'm sure Doc has produced beats for Armond before, but as far as one entire project of just the two of them, I think this is the first one they've ever done. This did not disappoint. This was amazing. I think the chemistry they have on the podcast as friends and as people translates 100% into this album. Let's just get right into it. The first song, Ayo, the way I started this video is how he started that song, and I loved it. Just kind of that chill, like it sounds like Armond is just having fun on the song, right? I love when rappers sound like this, when they're going in, but they're chilling in the sense that they just sound really comfortable on the record, on that beat. That's how he sounded. The beat is crazy. This is a perfect way to start off the project. The beat from the start just knocks. It's just hard. Just nasty boom bap in your face, and he just decimates it. Armond kind of has more of a conversational style, almost like he's talking to you. I want to say it sounds like he's asking questions a lot. That's neither here nor there. That's how he sounds like he's talking to you as opposed to like rapping at you, if that makes sense. One of the lines that stood out to me on this, he's talking about his faith, and he says they feel that all is a ruse. I know that all of it's true, right? And I just love that kind of bold, in your face kind of bar, especially regarding the truth of our faith, right? Of course, the world is constantly mocking Christianity, and we just like, I know it's true. You can't tell me nothing that'll sway me from it. I know it's true. You know what I mean? Combat it, come against it all you want. I know it. You can't sway me. Love that line, but the dude is spitting stupid amounts of bars, not only on the song, but on the entire record. But let's keep it moving. The next song, Let Him See. This beat is a little bit more up-tempo, and he kills it. He obviously adjusts to the faster pace of this beat from the last song, but again, he's still just going in on it. The one thing that Armond has a lot in general is a lot of wordplay. This dude, that's just what he does. He's sort of a master of it. He does a lot of just flipping words, and this is something that I enjoy doing when I'm writing my stuff. I try to do as often as I can, but I'm not touching this man. But what he does is an example of one of them is, he says, I ain't independent, I am independence. So it almost sounds like he's saying the same thing, but he just sort of broke down the statement into other words where it sounds like he just said the same thing twice, but it's different, and it's a stark contrast. Armond seems to like doing that, where he'll say two things back to back that are seemingly contradictory, and yet they play one off the other. It's super dope. Another one, a line that I liked on here was him saying, it's like, God is not a field in the building, and he just keeps that flow going. But the idea of God is not a feeling, I love it. I think there's a lot of weird stuff like that sometimes in Christianity, where it's like you talk about the Spirit is speaking to you, and realistically it's just your own feelings and emotions speaking to you. But I'm not going to say the Spirit don't speak to us and guide us in certain ways. Either way, that's a side thing. I really like that bar. Need faith for my goals. I ain't worried about a net. You see my stuff. You ain't worried about a mess. You are my need. I ain't worried about a check. It's paid. I ain't worried about a debt. I lose, I win. I ain't worried about a wreck. Marathon, I ain't worried about a stretch. Do work, I ain't worried about a sweat. Sure thing, I ain't worried about a bet, right? Like he keeps that going for a minute. I'm talking about I ain't worried about this, I ain't worried about that. Like, though, so he's keeping that same rhyme scheme going for bars on end, but then it's the same kind of wordplay he's doing. You see this, I ain't worried about this. You see this, I ain't worried about this. I ain't worried about this. So whatever the first thing he says I ain't worried about, and then there's a thing that kind of goes with the first thing he said. But to keep the rhyme scheme going for that long, and then to also keep that kind of wordplay, the same wordplay, going for as long as that amount of bars and rhyme scheme went, is, I think, that's a mastery level of rap. I liked it a lot. Next one. Rappity Raps and Beat Makers. I just think the title's hilarious. That's definitely something these two guys would come up with the minute you hear the beat. So something that I'm big on is listening to an album all the way through. I know we live in the generation of just listening to songs individually. This is an album that I would argue needs to be listened to in order. Doesn't necessarily have to be. That's my preference. But for the transition from this song, Let 'Em See, right into Rappity Raps and Beat Makers, as soon as the one song ends, where the beat would hit again on Let 'Em See, the next song comes in right on beat, and then it switches from the way that last beat just sounded right into another like boom bap sounding joint. And what they did was they used the same sample from Wu-Tang's song Cream, which, I mean, that's just a classic hip hop song. So for them to flip that sample, super dope. And it's only like it's a little over a minute. This is one verse that Armond spits, but he kills it with that Wu-Tang beat. But it just sounded so perfect. That Doc was snapping on this thing as far as the production went. He got a song here called I Am the One Too. If you know Armond, you know that this is from another album of his. They just threw another beat behind it. It's a dope song, but because it's a song that already exists on something else, it's not necessarily a new song. The beat is crazy. The new beat they added is dope, but I'm gonna skip over that one. Go listen to that song. Really nice. Power 2. This is another one that blew me away. The sample blew me away, right? It starts off with it's a gospel sample. It's a woman singing, for I am not ashamed of the gospel of Christ, for it is the power of God to salvation, right? That's the whole verse. For it is the power of God to salvation, verse to the Jew, then to the Greek. But they chop the sample right where she says, for it is the power, right? Where she would say the power of God. They just, for it is the power. And they just keep that looping the whole time. And it sounds crazy. So I love that. The beat already had me. But then the way this man is flowing over it. Again, it's a bit of a slower beat. It's a slower flow he's doing, slower tempo. But the wordplay is crazy. This is a man who doesn't need flow to make him sound good. If the flow is really slow, he's still going to hit you with crazy wordplay that's just going to rock your world, right? Here's, this goes back to what I was saying about him doing sort of contradictory, speaking about one thing and doing wordplay where it sounds like the thing contradicts, but it all works together. He says, talking about the gospel, right? So this song's called Power 2. It's talking about the power of the gospel. And so he says, a power that is know me, but knows me, right? A power that is new every day, but comes from the old school. A power with the world in its palm, but is local. A power that is crazy, but composed too. A power that is mystery, a power that's revealed. A power for the sick, a power that is ill, right? You hear the kind of the contradicting statements almost, and yet they're both perfect descriptions of the gospel. I love that he does that, and I think that's something in general he likes to do, sort of play off concepts like that. Kills it. Next song right after that is called Khru. This one, to me, is the realest song on the album as far as it being very introspective and him speaking about just sort of his own personal thoughts, his own flaws and failures, sort of his own contradictions as a person, right? Like he's advising his friends to go to therapy, all the while he's neglecting things in his life that he should be doing. trying to find the balance. Like he's talking about like he doesn't want to live for money and to be rich, but I also don't want to be poor. But I'm trying to find the balance of what's actually important versus doing extra just to be relevant or be on top or be making the money he could be making, or trying to balance that with family, because he alludes to friends of his who are making it, but then they're successful and alone, is what he says, right? They never stay checking up on their friends. They were so busy chasing after their goals. He doesn't want that to be him. Just a lot of those things, sort of the contradictions of him as a person. I'm going out on a limb, but I'll venture to say that he's a man who likes to acknowledge those sorts of kind of the contradictions in life and in people in general, and just sort of the world we live in. But that might be a stretch. That's just kind of stuff that I'm thinking through as I listen to him. Standout bars, again, more crazy wordplay. If I literally sat and made a whole video breaking down all of the wordplay he did in this, we'd be here forever. So my hope in making a review like this is that you would hear enough of the bars I do quote, and then go listen for yourself to hear everything he was doing, because he's doing so much more than I'm even getting to. But on this specific song, Khru, something that I really liked, the standout bars, so to speak, were he does a wordplay off the Christian battle rappers. There may be more I didn't catch, but what I got here, he says, not too many low-souls, no A-wards for the lazy. My saga isn't so-so, right? So you got low-soul, A-ward, saga. Maybe there's more battle rap stuff in there I didn't catch, but those three names for sure he played off. That was super dope. Again, speaking to like what is it to really be, he's talking about what will my legacy be as a man, and what's the impact I will have had. But he's talking about, the rhyme here is it being present for my lady, or is it buying presents for my lady? Will pessimism pay me? So again, the contradictory things there, he it sounded like he said the same thing, but he flipped it, said two different things. And then again, the rhyme scheme, present for my lady, presents for my lady, pessimism pay me. Like, I love that kind of wordplay where, again, it essentially sounds like you just said the same thing, but you said different things. Love that. The flow switches too. Armond is not a guy who you start to fall asleep on because you're doing the same flow over and over and over. Like, even in this song where he's got one flow most of the time, he'll still switch it up real quick within it and then bring it back. He did that on here. One of them was he says I've been patient. No, I haven't. I've been rapping my mind about how that, right? Like, and then he picks it up real quick like that and then brings it back to the same slow, chill flow that he was doing the whole rest of the time. This song in general, I think the way he delivered this song over this beat worked. Like I said, it's more of an introspective song. He took a lot of pauses on it. I think those pauses are powerful in the delivery. They make you sit and think more on what he just said. It leaves room for, like, I guess to think, right? To really think about what he just said. But it gives the impression of weightiness. Like, it really feels like as he's rapping it on the microphone, he's sitting and thinking about what he's talking about. Something that I've struggled with as an MC myself is just packing the beat with anywhere there is beat, anywhere there is music, words the whole time. As much as I can say, I'm learning, like, man, pauses and taking a breath and letting the beat just breathe a bit. That helps in making your lyrics even stronger, your bars even more like hit harder. You know what I mean? And so he does that masterfully, I'd argue, on this song. Next song, Peace Bryson. Just another dope sample. And he's just skating on this song, to use that phrase. Like, he just I don't think you can argue that there was a better way to ride this beat. He just perfectly in sync with the beat, wrote it so well. And again, this one is just about a minute. It's just him spitting the verse. But he kills it. It's almost like a rap interlude. You know what I mean? But it's so dope. It's like this has to be qualified as a song. He killed it. And then from that, the last song in the project is titled Fall 03. One of my things about this album was, who did a better job, the rapper or the guy who made the beats, right? The beats are extremely dope. The rapping is extremely dope. And I'm just like, man, who did better? Was it the producer or the rapper? This isn't what this album is about, but if I had to pick it on this song, the producer won. The beat was better than the rapping on this, because Doc just went in. And I'm not saying Armond did not go in. He absolutely did, but this beat is obnoxious. Doc outdid himself with this beat. This beat is dumb. This is It's a beat that instantly gets you hyped. And the thing is, they do it where it starts really slow, like the sample at the beginning, and then it just switches up. And all of a sudden, when Armond starts rapping, the beat has switched and it's a little bit faster. The drums haven't hit yet, but the tempo, you hear it is quicker. The sample's moving quicker. And then when that beat drops, it just punches you in the face. It's just stupid. At the end of the song, Doc gets his bars off, basically telling all the rappers to retire, to take a break, take a few months off, take a year off, the decade off. Because of how hard this beat was, him talking that trash is warranted. It's obnoxious. So, there's so much more to be said about this album that I'm not going to pack into a video. Go check it out. You will not be disappointed. If you love bars, if you love wordplay, you're going to love this album. Another thing related as far as something that Armond sort of does, there's certain songs that, at least not for me, maybe I'm not listening deep enough, I don't think there's necessarily one specific topic on the song. If I could define it, I would say sometimes Armond kind of raps like the book of Proverbs. And what I mean by that is he's kind of just throwing out a lot of bars and just dope general truth to meditate on. It's not all necessarily connected as one theme of the song, but all throughout the song, he's just spitting crazy amounts of bars, and all of it, he's just dropping gems all throughout it. Even if it's not all one consistent thing that the song is about, he's constantly giving you stuff to chew on that just hits you really well. But yeah, that's my summary of this. I thoroughly enjoyed this album. I've jogged many times to it. It's gotten me hyped. Whether it's the boom bap or the trap beats on here, all the beats just hit. Armond destroys all of them. It's a perfect match of a producer and an MC. I would recommend you all go check it out. It's amazing. It's your boy signing off. If you enjoyed this review, hit the like and subscribe button. Share it. Thank you for tuning in. Stay tuned for the next one. Peace and God bless.